I'm the Nevada Stray Cat, and I am in the middle of nowhere. These are the Bonneville Salt Flats in the northwest corner of Utah. This is public land, administered by the Bureau of Land Management. Somewhere around 30,000 years ago, Earth's climate changed. The atmosphere in what is now Utah and Nevada cooled, and more moisture came into the region. That moisture led to a lake, and while we don't think there were any humans around to give it a name when it formed, today we call it Lake Bonneville. At its height, or rather its depth, the spot where I am now riding was under almost 1,000 feet of water. You can still see the ancient shoreline of the lake in many places around the Great Basin, and evidence of the varying water level in the fact that in some places you can see 2 or more shorelines. The lake was what is called a hydrographically closed basin, which means that water flows in, but none flows out. When water leaves a lake only by evaporation, it leaves behind most of the sediments it carried in, and over time, those sediments accumulate. By the time the climate changed again and most of the lake dried up, it was more of an inland sea than a lake. And the Great Salt Lake to the east still has a higher level of salinity than the world's oceans. What that means for this playa, though, is that the flats are about 12 miles long and 5 miles wide, with a salt crust almost 5 feet thick at the center. It is estimated to hold 147 million tons of salt, about 90% of which is sodium chloride, common table salt. The area, and the Pleistocene Lake, is named after Major Benjamin Bonneville, a U.S. Army officer who explored the Intermountain West in the 1830s, possibly scouting for land routes to use in the invasion of California, which was then part of Mexico. And, although he commanded the expedition, it's quite likely Bonneville himself never saw the area which ended up being named for him. In 1846, the Donner Party traveled through here, hunting for the water sources they'd heard were located to the west, near Pilot Peak. They were already running late to be able to cross the mountains before winter, and would soon find themselves trapped in the Sierra Nevada. But that's a story for another day. It wasn't until 1910, when a railway line across the flats was completed, that there was a permanent crossing. Until then, the only guide was what you see here, the wheel tracks of those who'd crossed before you. Racing is undoubtedly what the flats are best known for. In 1907, local businessmen tested the suitability of the salt for driving by taking a Pierce Arrow onto its surface. But the first land speed record wasn't set here until 7 years later, with Teddy Tetzlaff's 1914 run at 142.85 miles per hour in the Blitzen Benz 2. Since then, the land speed record for different vehicles has been set, challenged, broken, and reset here. Most recently, in 2018, Shigeru Yamashita set the record for a street-legal production motorcycle on his Kawasaki Ninja H2 at 209.442 miles per hour. In 2012, Brandon Nozaki Miller was the first to ride an electric motorcycle, an unfaired 2012 Zero Motorcycles SZF6, over 100 miles an hour. And, yes, people in cars and rocket cars and trucks and all kinds of other vehicles have gone fast out here. But you're not here for that. You're here to see how fast I can go on the Riker in Sport mode, since I never took it out of Eco mode in the introductory episode. It's worth noting that the playa was slightly wet on the day I made this run, and I could feel the trike slipping. Not ideal riding conditions. Additionally, the GPS data my phone sends to the camera doesn't quite match my speedometer. For one thing, It shows that I'm moving 5 miles per hour, when I am in fact sitting still. And though the gauge on screen shows that I reached the mid-90s, my speedometer says that I hit 98. Either way, short of the 100 for which I was hoping. Today, the flats are used for many purposes. For instance, one of the routes one can take to qualify for the Boston Marathon is a good finish in the Salt Flats endurance runs, in which people run, on foot, through the flats and the surrounding mountains. Additionally, the annual U.S. Flight Archery Championships happen here. The goal of flight archery is not accuracy, but distance, using a bow and muscle power to send an arrow as far as possible. In 1977, archer Don Brown set a world record here of nearly 1,165 yards, and in 1982, archer Alan Webster shot an arrow 1,231.5 yards to claim the record. In 1987, Don Brown would reclaim the record, but that shot was performed at a different playa, about a 5-hour drive southwest of here. That record, as far as I can tell, still stands. So if you have a hankering to get your name in the record books, come on out to the flats and start practicing. The flats have also served the exploration of space. In 2004, NASA came here to retrieve the sample return canister from the Stardust Asteroid Rendezvous mission. The material thus obtained has changed ideas about how comets form, and even about the origins of life on Earth, as amino acids, one of the building blocks of life, were discovered within. But what are individuals, just people, using the flats for? Future Cat here. On the day that I was out at the playa shooting, the wind was quite strong, and in the editing booth I discovered that the wind noise that the microphone picked up was also very strong. As a result, the audio is in some places very hard to hear. If you have trouble making out what people are saying, check the closed captions. And if you came here because we talked on the playa and you were hoping to see yourself, I'm sorry, some of the audio was just unsalvageable.
Oh, buddy. So I have a YouTube channel, and I'm out here shooting footage about the Salt Flats and what people do on the Salt Flats. Wow. So if you don't mind, other than playing Settlers of Catan, we'll bring you over here.
We're on the way. We came partly for this and then partly to camp over that way.
Okay.
But yeah, we wanted to stop and just walk around, drive around.
Like that. How did it all come from?
I'm from Salt Lake.
Thank you.
What you doing?
Getting married.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
I'm the Nevada Stray Cat. I have a YouTube channel. I'm out here shooting footage for a video about the Salt Flats. Does anybody object if I put you in my video about the Salt Flats?
As long as I'm in it.
I want Congratulations on your wedding. I hope you have many wonderful years together.
Oh, thank you. She's my Dara.
My late wife and I got married on the lawn of a police station with 2 cops as our witnesses, so you're already ahead of us. Howdy. Nevada Stray Cat. I traveled on Not footage for the travel log is really just an excuse. I'm
Yeah.
that you're
That's valid.
goofing off. Thank you for not tripping. I hope you have a great day.
It's behind you. It's behind you. Nothing is funny. Oh, sweetie, too. Nothing, run.
Don't give it back to Bumblefingers.
I will not. So much.
Nice meeting you, man.
Take care now.
If you'd like to visit the Bonneville Salt Flats, take Interstate 80 to Utah Exit 4, then turn north. Follow the road to where it turns east, and then go out to the end of the pavement. There's a small parking area at the end of the road, and there used to be a BLM sign out here, but some jerk stole it in early 2025. If you choose to leave the pavement and go out onto the playa, be aware that, especially during the winter and spring, the surface can be damp, and that moisture can cause the sand to be thrown up by your wheels. If you spend an hour or two, you can get, well, the word glazed comes to mind. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I want to take a moment to thank Bear for his shout out on his channel, The Motorcycle Stravik. Link to his channel in the description, because I find Bear to be a cool dude, and his musings always worth a listen. If you like what you've seen here, please do all the regular YouTube things. Like, subscribe, comment, and share with others you think might enjoy the trip. I'm the Nevada Stray Cat, and I'll see you around.